My Hero Academia Season 5 is terrible. The fact that is not a controversial statement to make speaks volumes to how much the series has declined, as evidenced by its mouse scores, whereas Season 5 sits dramatically below all the other seasons, with its score of 7.43 being similar to a high school DxD season than a My Hero Academia one. So why is it rated so poorly when compared to its previous seasons? To answer that, let's first look at what it is adapting. Compared to its previous seasons, the amount of content that the anime is adapting per episode has dramatically increased, with the anime adapting nearly an extra chapter of content per episode, which on its own is not bad, as some of the chapters that Season 5 was adapting were only 12 pages long, rather than the usual 15, and as always when you adapt fight scenes for anime, you can rapidly burn through material, making the fights flow better. However, in the case of Season 5, the opposite is true, as even though the first 12 episodes comprised the shorter manga chapters, the amount of content placed into them was far less than the second half of the season. This caused pacing issues, where at the start you noticed moments where the series is obviously padding the runtime, in order for the episode to only include 2 chapters, which meant that some of the fights felt disjointed in comparison to the more smoothest scenes depicted in the manga. Now, the joint training arc that started this season off is not viewed as a fan favourite by many people, mainly because the 2 arcs that succeed it are well liked by the community, with the Meta Liberation arc and the Endeavour internship arc being fan favourites due to the dramatic character developments and status quo changes that occur to many of the important supporting side characters. So although this arc was not adapted that well, it is not the root cause of the ire of the community. That is down to how they adapted the next 2 arcs. To start with, they swapped the Endeavour Agency arc and the Meta Liberation arc around. The main problem with this is that the Meta Liberation arc occurs chronologically earlier than the Endeavour Agency arc, so even though the main heroes were not involved in the first arc, what happened is still referenced a lot in the anime, ruining any notion of suspense for what the viewer is going to see in the arc. On top of this, many of the characters have near-death experiences during the arc, which you did not know if they were going to survive when reading it the first time, given Horihoshi's track record regarding villains. However, thanks to the fact they decided that the Agency arc was going to be animated first, we knew how the entire Meta Liberation arc was going to end. I mean, did anyone really think for 1 second that Toga was going to die here? We've literally seen her alive after this event was meant to occur. This entire act of moving the arcs around ruined any tension or suspense for the Meta Liberation arc, along with heavily dampening the intrigue for how the heroes would deal with this new threat emerging. So why did Studio Bones make this change and damage the season for manga readers? The answer is to drum up hype for the new movie that was coming out while the season was airing. As the anime aired between March 27th to September 26th, and a new film came out on August 6th, if they had not switched the arcs around, then the viewers would be confused as to why Deku was with Endeavour. I mean, it's not like they had already done a film set later in the manga. Oh wait, they already had, with their second film Heroes Rising, which occurred after the Meta Liberation arc. I mean, just look at Shiggy with his sick coke before he underwent more experiments to make himself even stronger. To push the new film coming out even further, they added a filler episode that references the events of the movie at the end of the episode. Yeah, this episode is terrible. It is basically an excuse to have the girls wear swimsuits and then reunite with the crew that Sue shadowed during Season 2. The filler on its own wouldn't bother me, it is what they skipped which irritates me, as they cut out some substantial world building scenes, such as the encounter of the human purists, and what the League did on the run from the heroes, which provides a much needed link between the end of the Overhaul arc and the starting of the current arc, rather than the odd jump cut scenes we get to link the 2 sections together. Finally, something to mention is that due to the anime airing at 5 PM in Japan, there was always going to be a layer of censorship hanging over the anime. As much as I would have liked to have this scene of Ari Destructo killing his assistant to have been animated, I understand why they cut it to make the episode pass censorship requirements. Same with the reduced level of gore when Shiggy destroyed his family. These are things you just have to accept for the content to be animated in the first place. And I would be remiss if I did not mention that. That being said, I believe that if they had not messed with how the series was adapted, then this would have just been a detracting footnote of a good season, rather than an excusatory footnote of a terrible one. So why did Season 5 suck? Well, it was down to the decision to prioritise the movie over the anime, which led to the series feeling disjointed and badly paced, combined with a pointless filler episode and a focus on unpopular arcs. It is not irredeemable, but it is definitely a letdown when compared to the prior anime seasons. And given that Season 6 is adapting for many the high point of the My Hero Academia manga, let us all just breathe a massive sigh of relief that there is no movie coming out this year. So we at least know they're not going to mess with the arc order, and the season should be great. Unless the censors get in the way.